Welcome to another edition of Pattern Spotlight. Today we'll be reviewing a Lutterloh pattern from Supplement 320 and Pattern 229. If you already know how to do my sew-alongs and videos, and if you'll be kind enough to watch at least one ad should it appear, which enables me to keep bringing you free content, feel free to skip ahead to go straight to the Pattern Spotlight. Skip ahead to the 3-minute 30-second mark. Here's a little bit about how I do my Sew With Me sew-alongs.
Techniques, I'm going to put it on the website and I will reference it in the sew-along itself. So for example, we're working on a pair of pants that has a fly front. So when we get to that portion in the sew-along, I'll do a little bit of it, in instructions in the sew-along itself, but then I'm going to refer you over to the website to go ahead and look at that video, that particular video, look it over, study it, do your own sample if you want, because I'm big on that technique binder. So go ahead and and do that, and then once you get a good hang of what that technique is, then come back onto the sew-along itself and do that particular technique with the sew-along. So that way we both kind of benefit. You still get the instruction of the actual sew-along, step by step of how to do a particular thing. But it's less editing on my part because, like I said, I'll mention it in the sew-along itself, but then I'll refer you over to the website to actually find that particular technique and go ahead, review it, look at it. And then once you master it or enough to where even so long, at the same time and install it in that particular sew-along that you're doing at that time. So hopefully that will be okay for you, because I think I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank everyone for watching my videos. I love to upload the videos. I love to share my knowledge. And I'm pretty sure that you guys love to get free content. So in order for me to keep uploading free content, I just need you to do some simple things for me, some very simple things. The first thing is just to hit the subscribe button. So just make sure that you hit that. So you're subscribed to my channel. Hit the notification bell so when I upload a new video, you don't miss out and you get to see it. And then also, if there's an ad on my videos, they're typically anywhere from 10 seconds to maybe up to 2 minutes. Just go ahead and either watch it or do something else you want to do in those in that particular time that ad is running. So use the restroom, go get something to drink or something like that. Because that way, if you let that ad run, I benefit from YouTube, and that way I can still keep creating content and uploading it for free. Okay. Enough of that boring stuff. Back to the sew-along. Please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. Thanks again and keep on watching. All right, so I will be making this Lutterloh pants pattern. This one, 229. The one that I'm making is about calf length, so I'm cutting off about half right here. It is from the Supplement 320. It's pattern 229. It's basically semi-fitted through, I guess, about the thigh area. So I list it as a semi-fitted. That's just what I use for their specialized ruler. The centimeters I used the hip measurement of 136 centimeters. It's designed for wovens and stretch wovens. Okay. And the fabric that I needed was basically 2.5 yards for that. Okay, for that length. And there is only 5 pattern pieces. It is the front. Okay, so that is what the little pattern look like, and then enlarged version. Okay. pattern piece, the back. That's what the small version looks like. Bigger version, enlarged version, I should say, looks like. The pockets. That's what the pocket look like. And then the waistband, and it's on the fold. The fold is in the middle. And they have it as a one piece, but because I need mine longer, I had to cut mine. You know, create a center back seam, and we'll be cutting it on that and stitching that together. But you know, eventually it'll be on the fold in the middle, and that's what that pattern piece looks like. All right, so again, there's only 4 pattern pieces, but you know, as I say, because this is made for basically if your proportions are basically in proportion. So they, you know, theirs is your hip measurement is typically 13. I mean, yes, your hip measurement is typically 13 inches wider than your waist. Okay. So mine is not, you know, so usually you should have a smaller waist, you know, by 13 inches than your hip. Mine is not. So which means, you know, this, I would have to have some adjustments. It's just, you know, it just won't fit out the box, with their method. So, you know, the alterations that I typically have to make are, and this is the front pattern. You know, I had to take in at the thigh a little bit, and so I had to reshape the side seam from that, and then I had to lengthen my crotch depth length. Okay, and then I had to, I'm trying to remember the order. My bottom of my front crotch curve, mine is typically 3 3/4. This was longer, so I had to shorten mine. Okay, and then I had to do a belly adjustment, right? But instead of doing just a straight belly adjustment, I also had to do a waist adjustment. And because I did a waist adjustment, the waist adjustment includes a belly adjustment just by the way you do it. So I foregoed the belly adjustment and just did the waist adjustment, and that seemed to fit when I did my muslin, so I didn't have to do a separate belly adjustment. So, you know, your waist adjustment, you're taking it here and you're taking it here, and because of that, you're opening, you know, I don't know if you see that, but that right here, you know, that's the amount that I added to my belly. And you gotta remember, this is for 4 pieces, okay? Because you have to do the same to the front and the back. Okay, so in essence, it's 4 pieces that you're enlarging. So it was more than enough. And with this belly adjustment, because mine was over 4 inches that I needed to do, I readjusted this center front line. This was the old center front line, which is more of a slanted. So you see, I added it to that center front, which made it more of a straight center front, which that does is add more room in your waist and in your tummy. Okay, and I did that for both front and back pieces. This was the original line, center back, moving it over some, increase the waist and the belly area, and making that line straighter. So I think that's all I did for the front. So for the back pattern piece, of course I had to do the crotch depth. And this is how you find your crotch depth anyway. You used your back piece, and whatever amount that you needed, you just also added to the front. So initially you use your back piece, just FYI. So I had to do that. Oh, I'll come back to that. Of course, the the waist adjustment, which included the belly adjustment just by default. And of course the thigh, I had to take that in as well on both the front and the back. More room at the, I can't remember, I measured down, I think it was, God, 8 and something, 8 3/4, something like that. But it's usually around your lower hip line for me anyway. If you have a, you know, a little bit of a bigger tush, you know, you may need more room. So I added about 1/4 of an inch, giving myself more room. Basically where that curve start, where that lower hip line is, you know, you just want to give yourself a little bit more room. And then also on the front and the back, I didn't show you on the front pattern, but on the front and the back, I added to the inseam, which is your thigh, okay, inner thigh area right here, by I think it was 1/4 inch, giving myself a little bit more room is there as well. And I don't think I had to make any changes to the pockets, and no changes except for adding, you know, instead of it being on a fold, I had to give myself a seam here because I needed a longer waistband. So put it on center back seam, but no real adjustment there. So anywho, so again, this is the Lutterloh pattern that I will be making the pants. And you know, I'll be coming back here and there showing you some highlights. So first things first that I'm going to do is basically stay stitch. I'm going to go to my front pattern here, and I'm going to stay stitch because my seam allowance is a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to stay stitch, and I always stay stitch at this amount at 1/4 inch, the waistline. You can either stay stitch or you can use that stay tape that I showed you before. Get it here, the woven stay tape. So either one works. That's the first step that I will be using with the machine setup. It's nothing different. I'm not using a walking foot. And I'm using a regular needle, universal needle, for this weight, and I think I'm using either 10 or 12, size 10 or 12, don't remember. Let's see, regular polyester thread, nothing different there. So nothing really different with your setup, and I'll be using a straight stitch. The fabric, I got it at my local Joann's, and this is the fabric. I'm going to put up a description of it. You know, it should pop up here soon, but just to give you an I think it's 1%. It's either 1 or 2. It's either between 1 and 3%. I can't remember which one this is. Of spandex or lycra in this, so it's not really that much of a stretch, but it does retain its recovery. This does have rayon in it, so it makes it very soft and very drapey. Very good for this pants. I would say it's a medium weight. Most definitely has a nice weight to it. It is opaque, meaning you cannot see through it at all. It's just a nice fabric for fitted pants. So
You know, if you want some fitted pants and you want nice fabric work type, if you're making work pants or just fitted pants in general, this is some very nice fabric. And like I said, I got it at my local Joann's, and you should be seeing the information on the screen. So anyway, so like I said, I will be stay stitching the top of my fabric here, and just make sure you transfer all your markings and everything, okay, before you get started. And then I'll probably do this tuck here, and it's basically what it is a tuck all the way to these markings here, because as you see, it releases, and you can see there's a mark, so it closes there, opens there. All right, so after I stay stitch, trying to keep the patterns as flat as possible, I will be doing the tucks first on each one of the front patterns. The front is done for now, for the most part. We put in the tucks. This is, I'll turn it over, but this is the start of the fly. You just see the tucks come down here and opens. Okay, so that's the way that looks from the right side, flipping it over to the wrong side. So you can see the construction. This is one of the tucks. Basically you sew it down, you know, the one seam. So you basically made 3 lines. 1 line on one side, 1 line in the middle, 1 side on the outside, and you combine those using the middle as a guide. And then once you did that, you do, I think this was like a 1/2 inch, you know, at the top, but that shouldn't be shown in the end when you put your waistband in. And then 1/2 inch at the bottom, that will be shown, as you can tell from the right side. Okay, these are a little big. You know, I don't know, that's how they made them. You could actually cut it off, you know, cut it off, make a seam, you know, cut it off at a 1/2 inch, 5/8 of an inch, serge it or zigzag it, make a seam, and then, you know, just put your seam to one side and still do, you know, your crosshairs there and still get the same effect. So, you know, but I just left it there like it was indicated, like a regular tuck there. This is the beginning of the fly. As you can see, I serged the fly itself. Okay, I haven't cut into it yet because I haven't done the fly, but that's the beginning of it. Next on this one is the fly, and I'll come back when that's done. All right, so finished with the fly. Okay, I will be doing a shield, a fly shield, a fly zipper shield to put on the back of there. There is no pattern piece for it, so I'll just be drafting one, basically just taking this, the fly basically, and maybe adding a 1/2 inch to it. That's about it, and then just put it on the back of that, and all you do basically is go over that stitch line, and then when you get to the back, you just secure it. You just secure it at the end here. It's pretty easy. So that is the fly front, and of course my tucks are done there. So I kind of already went over that. So this is the back. Pretty simple with the back. It's just 2 darts and a center back seam. So that's the darts from the right side. These are the darts from the wrong side. Okay, and remember, when you sew it, the bulk of the dart will be pointing toward the center back.
And the center back is done. Reinforced stitches, which means I just stitched over the seam again, directly over top of it, and that just reinforces that, because this is a high stress area because of your bum and all the sitting and stuff like that that happens. And finish the seam there. So next on tap is attaching the pockets, but that will be for the next video. I will be attaching the pockets, doing the side seams, inseam, and the waistband for that second video. All right, everyone have a good night.
If you made this pattern or intend to, or if you're going to follow along with me, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. Thanks again for watching, and happy sewing.